Good morning. Gorgeous morning this morning. Maybe a little lighter today because we had quite the gathering last night. Close to 80 folk. Unbelievable artistry in how the tables were laid. The food was incredible, the music. Just want to shout out to the hospitality committee if anybody is here, really. So let us open our hearts to this day, to the beauty before us, the love within us, the life around us. Let us feel joy in our togetherness and sharing of being, to learn and grow with one another and find the spirit of life within all. It's good to be together. Let's sing hymn number 34 in the gray hymnal, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire. Please rise as you are able in body and or spirit.
Good morning. Welcome to First Parish. My name is Steve Yakutis, and I'm a member of our worship committee. If you're having trouble hearing us, please raise your hand here in the meeting house or message us in the chat function on Zoom. We're so glad that you've chosen to be with us this morning or to join us virtually. However your journey, whatever your heritage, and whomever you love, you are welcome here. Your presence here on Sunday morning enriches worship for everyone. This sanctuary is made holy by your presence. If you're joining us for the first time, a special welcome. You'll find information about First Parish in your pew. One of the greeters or I will be happy to answer questions, any questions you might have, and please join us at social hour afterwards. There will be lots of food left over from last night. The work of living our faith is done both in and out of worship, so I call your attention to the printed announcements in the order of worship or in the emailed link. In particular, there are some immediate things happening that I want to bring your attention to. Reminder from the Climate Action Team The November talk on climate action at home happens today at 12 noon in the Chase Parlor. Eric Miller will give an update on electric vehicles, and all are welcome. Also, if you're interested in affordable housing and the history of affordable housing in Boston, you won't want to miss this talk. Byron Rushing will speak about the history of affordable housing in Boston at the Urban Ministry in Roxbury this Tuesday at 6 p.m. Please talk with Mary Blanchette if you're interested. She's interested in carpooling. This is an opportunity for us to embrace the eighth principle and to visit the Urban Ministry at the beautiful historic First Church in Roxbury. Also that evening is our First Parish orientation. If you're new to the parish or if you want to refamiliarize yourself with this work of the faith community, there will be a meeting on Tuesday also via Zoom, and you can contact Leslie McPherson for more information. Now, let's take a few minutes to greet one another and extend a warm welcome to old friends and new. For those on Zoom, please turn on your video and go to gallery view so that you can say hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Audio. Good morning. Dottie, your microphone's not on.
Okay, good. You could see me, but you couldn't hear me.
Right, right.
That may be the good news.
Yes. So, well,
Are you home?
I am. I have a sore throat and
Oh,
congestion. So, but I did bring the flowers in today.
oh, yeah, they look nice. That's good. At least from where I can see them.
Yeah, well, it just was trying to gather up a few things that looked interesting from my garden.
That's good. You still have them. Hale, are you in Milton?
I am. I had a outpatient surgery procedure on Wednesday, so I'm sort of recovering from that. But
Oh, okay.
other than, this seemed like the easier way to attend.
Right. Well, I'm glad to see people because last week I think there was, or 2 weeks ago, there was only one person on Zoom, and I was wondering whether we should continue with the Zoom or not. Well, looks like we got to get back to business here.
Okay.
As we
All right.
enter into worship,
later.
please take a moment to make sure your cell phones are silenced. Now is the moment when we can focus on being here, when we can choose to connect with ourselves and the divine, when we can choose to just be present. Flame of our faith, call us into the community of love and justice this morning and every morning. Please join me in saying our call to worship. Come, let us gather. We gather to celebrate the sacred within and among us. We come to seek spiritual growth and understanding. We strive to practice acceptance, forgiveness, and love. Together, we work to build a world with justice and compassion. Come, let us gather together.
Good to see everyone. So you may know that I am a big fan of a theme of generosity in the generous and loving spirit. So as many of these things go, it is, we like to say, challenge by choice. So if you do not want to be up singing wildly with me, you do not have to be. However, that is the invitation. So if you'd like to either stand or the song can also be done seated if you would like. But just get in the spirit of camp songs. Okay. And you can do a little throat clearing, a little moving around, getting ready. Okay. So if you'd like to repeat after me,
So let's give ourselves the wonderful feeling in this room, the presence of love within and surrounding us. And just breathe for a little bit. Get in touch with your body, with your breath, with your being for just a little. And recognize that you are nourishing your body by doing this. Blessings be, and all sounds welcome.
Today's reading is A Contribution to Statistics by Wisława Szymborska. Out of 100 people, those who always know better, 52. Doubting every step, nearly all the rest. Glad to lend a hand if it doesn't take too long, as high as 49. Always good, because they can't be otherwise. 4. Well, maybe 5. Able to admire without envy, 18. Suffering illusions induced by fleeting youth, 60, give or take a few. Not to be taken lightly, 40 and 4. Living in constant fear of someone or something, 77. Capable of happiness, 20-something, tops. Harmless singly, savage in crowds, half at least. Cruel when forced by circumstances, better not to know even ballpark figures. Wise after the fact, just a couple more than wise before it. Taking only things from life, 30, I wish I were wrong. Hunched in pain, no flashlight in the dark, 83, sooner or later. Righteous, 35, which is a lot. Righteous and understanding, 3. Worthy of compassion, 99. Mortal, 100 out of 100. Thus far, this figure still remains unchanged.
One of the perks of where I live is that it's right under a sky avenue for Canadian geese migration. So most days I get to see the V shape flying. Some may recall the wisdom from nature moments that we used to have during COVID online, reviewing the wisdom that I wanted to do this morning of the Canadian geese. Why the V formation? As each bird flaps its wings, it creates an updraft which uplifts the birds that follow. So the group spends less energy by flying in that updraft, and this adds 70% greater flying range for the flock. Flying in the V formation also lets the birds keep in visual contact with one another so that they're oriented in the right direction and don't get lost along the way. And you know, when you're seeing them flying, you're hearing the geese honking. Those are the geese behind, mostly the lead goose, encouraging the front flyers, you know. Go, yeah, we can do this, yeah. When the lead bird gets tired, it drops back in formation and another bird moves to the front of the V. And there's no lengthy voting or process about this. It just naturally adjusts. And when a goose gets sick, wounded, or tired and falls away or starts to fall down, two geese immediately fly out of formation to follow and protect it. They stay with the hurting goose until it either dies or is able to fly again. Then the geese catch up with the original flock or join another formation. One morning when I was walking a couple of years ago, I heard some geese, and they went right over my head, right into some wetlands that I was right next to, and I actually saw that happen. There were 3 geese, and they were talking to each other, and obviously helping one of them that was a little tired or unable to fly for the moment. They live in flexibility and the strength of group regard, holding each other up, all in shared experience, and open to response to circumstances. Equanimity, equal access and regard in differing ways of being. Charity isn't even in the system of goose survival. Honoring diminished strength and need for the sake of the group comes naturally. No pity, no judgment, no superiority. Just combining strength and ability to help the whole group to get where they want to go. We don't have a system like that in society. We have competition of worth, the haves and have-nots, the do-gooders and the takers, the fortunate and the hoping to someday be fortunate, the privileged and the downtrodden. Our system thrives on this kind of dynamic. The fight for equality becomes an all-consuming endeavor for some, while others game the system to stay in power. The industry of giving circulates the bits that are available, while backroom dealing keeps much of the wealth untouchable. What if we instead practice equanimity, realizing that comparisons to judge worth make no sense in a world where we're all unique? Understanding that need fluctuates amongst all mortal beings and accessibility is meant for all in whatever condition. Coming to know that inherent dignity is true in any age, stage, circumstance, or status. How about we cheer each other on in our journeys rather than tear each other down to lift ourselves up? How about we feel a part of the whole however we are, be there when needed, be held when needed? My guess is that the statistic for that place of enlightenment in our reading this morning is 1 or 2. And I'm not including myself. I've got work to do, conditioning to shed, learnings to practice. I did feel a shift in the mid-1980s in my journey. Working as a production assistant on a feature film in Morocco, it was a multi-million-dollar budget, and artists from all over the world being treated lavishly. And one day in Marrakesh, as I was going to work with my walkie-talkie, noticed a mother with her suckling child, both of them severely emaciated, leaning up against the catering Winnebago, where just inside there was plenty of food with fancy Spanish chefs making our lunch. Something shifted in me. This is wrong. Not just circumstantially, but existentially, something is wrong with the whole system of relating to one another. I was puffed up about working on this film, and this was a wake-up call. Something is not right fundamentally in our way of being with one another. And that's kind of as far as I got that on that moment. But I still remember it. Helping this one person wasn't going to create a just and compassionate world, but her witness was a gift, a lesson, a beacon. I remained in film production back in New York City and continued to bring leftover food to homeless shelters, which was in no way beyond charity, simply offering leftovers, slightly better than throwing away the food, but not a whole bunch better. And yes, every little thing we can do helps, but it's the attitude that accompanies the help that can really change things. Somewhere along the way, living in the Lower East Side in New York, when it was, how shall I say, a little more rugged than nowadays, I began to see the unhoused people that I would avoid or on the streets even step over, or see them as obstacles to get to my day. Instead, I suddenly saw them as fellow human beings. Another shift. Soon I was volunteering in a soup kitchen and hospice ward, which basically led me to seminary and the desire to put service in the center of my work life. I felt I was learning so much from these volunteer gigs. It didn't feel like charity, it felt like a privilege. It felt like engaging in the world, applying myself for some sort of harmony, both without and within. I grew up in a Unitarian Universalist household, upper middle class white. I participated with the family in what I think were mostly acts of charity, while laudable in one sense, didn't move the needle very much for transformative change. In fact, in some ways, charity keeps the system intact. There are those who give what they can, which creates enough shared resources to buffer those who keep as much as they can. And we're seeing in this nation the realization of that wealth gap, which is far too large. Unions are starting to bubble up. They're starting to come back into collective understanding and effort for the good of the many. UAW President Shawn Fain spoke to this shift. Every fiber of our union is being poured into fighting the billionaire class and an economy that enriches people at the expense of workers. And I want to just give a little shout out to Tom Kemp. He gave me permission to do that he has been on a painstaking journey with a group that has been negotiating the artists' strike. And they came to the Screen Actors strike, and they came to a recognition of each other. Yay, Tom, well done, well done. You're on Zoom today, I see you, good for you. The geese take turns to lead and follow. Actually, you have to turn over there to wave at him. He doesn't see you. Okay. The geese take turns to lead and follow, to fly and stay behind, to tend one another. We humans are inconsistent in this way. There have been communities and even societies that were more egalitarian, but the need to conquer and have more than needed often overwhelms us again and again, but it need not be so. This does not mean that charity should stop. It does indeed close emergency gaps and help people subsist. We can continue to share what we can while working within to shift how we see that sharing. We can enrich what we think about giving. Do we give for ourselves or for our shared lives? The system of haves and have-nots will not move much until we transform our perspective of living together in this world. I've learned more about the relationship of giving in times of loss and betrayal. Times when I expected someone to be there for me. Times when I gave what the person didn't want. Times when I was used for my impulse to be giving. Times when I was using my giving to control an outcome. In the best of all worlds, we give and take without keeping score, with a willingness to give when needed and receive when needed. In the best of all worlds, we'll be able to tell if we are being used or befriended, if we are using or authentically inviting a journey with another. The bottom line is that we're relational creatures, that we have relational power. We might want to ponder, do we give for power with or power over? When is giving a kind of power over? Perhaps when we expect to be thanked, expect gratitude or favor or something in return. Perhaps when we want to be thought of as a giving person, building a reputation or heightened position. Perhaps when we think it will gain access to some privilege or even into someone's heart. Perhaps even when we want to push someone away by our giving, defining the relationship by what we're willing to give. In these ways, we treat others as stepping stones to our own needs. When is giving a kind of power with? Perhaps when we give what is asked for as best as we can. Perhaps when we listen. Perhaps when we receive without thinking it's a contract. Perhaps when we see the other as someone in need, not needy, as someone of equal worth and dignity, not to be pitied. Perhaps when we appreciate the other for the chance to give. Perhaps when we see ourselves as a part of humanity who can give of our lives for the good of the whole. Yesterday was Veterans Day, a time when we lift up, honor, appreciate, and recognize the brave service of those in the military. One thing I learned while serving a congregation near the Aberdeen Proving Ground is that the vast majority of the military know what war is and do not rush to be engaged in it. They go when ordered, but they do not seek it. They're willing to serve a larger logic that they trust is for the greater good. And we, of course, can go into the politics whether any time war is for the greater good. But the larger logic that brings most people into service in the military is to serve the greater good, which is an astounding gift of heart and spirit that we need to honor and be responsible for. So I just wanted to lift up, if there are any veterans in the room or any loved ones of veterans, if you want to either stand or raise your hand. Thank you for your service. And this is what we do when we choose to serve, in whatever capacity. We find ourselves in the midst of a life ready to contribute to it. It's a realization that whatever skills or abilities one has can be used to further the well-being of the world. At least that's the initial logic the hope which comes from a choice to serve. Now, we can also serve just as we give for many reasons, whether in the military or the ministry, in education or politics. We serve a larger logic, and sometimes that compelling logic comes from places of ego distortion. The need to feel superior, the compulsion to be useful in a way that avoids love of self, the view that others are helpless, to be pitied, the feeling that we're entitled to serve a cause that advances our own agenda. It's important to examine what one is serving, what the larger logic or the inner compulsion is that drives the choice to serve, give, or help. Service and giving is an expansion of the self, a practice of our relational power. If one serves only for others, then it is not true service. There needs to be an understanding that it's for all, including ourselves. If one serves to help fix another, it's not true service. We're not in charge of the other. Our judgment of another's brokenness is just that, judgment, not compassion. When we use giving as a contract, expecting something out of it, we create imbalanced relationships. We also regard ourselves as lacking, as needing to do something or be important in some way to feel whole. This one is the hardest one for me to recognize. That's when unhealthy connections can occur, when we depend on others to judge our worth. Sometimes we can even feel trapped in a pattern of defensive or offensive giving, pushing away the fear of worthlessness. Let's go back to the geese for a moment. A shared journey of giving and receiving, of showing up and holding back, of tending to fatigue and brokenness simply because we can, of joining the journey again to free ourselves in shared life. And so, of course, some of you may think, I close by sharing Mary Oliver's poem, Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. You can give, then, end quote. You can give, you can receive, you can be given, and you can be received. It's all one and all beautiful. So may it be. Amen. Let's sing together hymn number 1021, Lean on Me. Let's join our hearts in the spirit of prayer. Beauty of being, spirit of life, God of all naming. We're in those luscious winter sunsets and dawns, in the clear, brisk air, and the blood that runs through our veins. Be with us. It is a terribly troubling time. There's so many things we can be afraid of, feel deep loss and grief over. Wonder about whether humanity can actually make it. All of that is swirling around. Help us see the beauty of natural wisdom. Help us feel the strength of love expressed. Help us ground in each other. And for all the local prayers, lifted up but unspoken, may we surround them with love. Amen.
I'd like to invite Pat and Cynthia up for the faith reflection.
Good morning. My name is Pat Gallivan, and I'm joined by Cynthia Guys, and we're both members of the Social and Environmental Justice Committee here at First Parish. So a while back, we saw the dire situation that was going on in Haiti, and we thought, maybe there's something that we could do. And the church stepped up, and we did a clothing drive and housewares and furniture for an agency right down the street in Mattapan. It's the Immigrant Family Services Institute, and it was the first recognition that we should be involved with the Haitian crisis. The director of the program, Dr. Gabot, reached out to Cynthia and I after that and said, would you be willing to step up and do some other things? And we said yes, and boy, has she asked over and over, and it's been great. She also introduced us to another group of people in Milton interested in providing the same type of relief. So we started meeting with them, Cynthia and I, and there was a group of 5 people, and we ended up, it's a tough name, I have to write it down, we are the Milton Welcoming Haitian Newcomers Group. And we're up to a committee of 8, and it's a number of people from the Haitian community and other churches around Milton. What we were involved in doing in the beginning was we wanted to know if we could be able to bring in a Haitian family to live in Milton. We would provide some of the housing, the finance, and other support for this group, and so that's where the focus has been. We learned something from the experience that Cynthia and Reverend Lisa had with the Milton Interfaith Clergy Association work with the Syrian family, and that has gone really well, and we're hoping to model our relief efforts along the same lines. Reverend Lisa and Cynthia had been very involved during the whole process with the Syrian family, and it was good. So now we've recently added another First Parish person who you may know, Tracy Robinson, so she's on the committee. And Reverend Lisa continues to help us out by being the contact through Micah and with some of the other church groups. Let me see. The other group in the church, First Parish, has a racial justice task force under the leadership of Pat Neves and Ellen Barr, and they're seeing the work that they do around racial issues to tie in with what we're doing with the Haitian population. So we hope to continue to work with them, and it's off to a good start. So.
After our initial meetings this summer and fall, we set out a survey to see if there was any interest in the Milton community. We had very many positive responses and then made connections with a Haitian church in Milton, the Total Health Christian Ministries, the International Institute of New England, AFAB, which many of you are familiar with. It helps women from Haiti with domestic abuse and other issues. And Micah, the Milton Interfaith Clergy Association. We had a community meeting in September and many people were on board. I see some people here that were at that meeting also. They offered to help by providing clothing, transportation, teaching English, computer skills, and furnishing the new apartment. Once we raise about $15,000 to help pay for an apartment, which sounds like a lot and also doesn't sound like a lot, because if you think about an apartment that's $3,000 and you have to do first and last month's rent just to get in, we're hoping the $15,000 will get us started, and then the people who will be living there will have work authorization and can start paying part of it themselves, a good part of it themselves. Too often, I watch the news and feel helpless in making a difference. This is a concrete way to make a positive impact on a family who has experienced hardship and trauma. All donations will go directly to the family's expenses. So we're asking you to please help us raise some money so we can start the process, because we have the people, we have the man-woman power, but we can't start until we have the funds to get the apartment, to get the family, to help them. So Pat, Tracy, and I didn't ask Tracy, but Tracy, will you be around? Coffee hour, social hour? So if you have any questions, you can ask us, and we hope to have another community meeting sometime soon, so we'll let you know about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat, and thank you, Cynthia. Today's offering will be given to the Milton Welcomes Haitian Newcomers through the International Institute of New England. As many of you know, twice a month our offering is given to an organization whose work this congregation supports. The effort is spearheaded by our Social and Environmental Justice Committee and is one of the ways that we fulfill our mission of helping to build a just and healthy world. To give, please follow the instructions printed in your order of worship or shown on the Zoom screen. For those in the meeting house, you may also deposit cash or check in the collection plates by either entrance.
when you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I'll dry them all. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. Like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. When you're down and out, when you're on the street, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. Oh, when darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. Like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. Sail on, silver girl, sail on by. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way. See how they shine. Oh, if you need a friend, I'm sailing right behind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind, your mind.
And now, please join in reciting our dedication. May these gifts be transformed into strength for this faith community, into comfort, food, and shelter for those in need, and may we be transformed by generosity. And we can sing closing hymn in the teal hymnal, 10:18. Come and go with me.
And our benediction is a bit of word, and then we sing a doxology together. So as I douse the flame of our faith, may the flame burn deep and wide within us. May we give and receive with gladness. May that we see the abundance all about us and have a great week feeling the abundance in our ways and walking. And let's sing our doxology.